Bit of Gundam model kit construction and astro imaging today, as well as possibly trying to cut some felt, but I'm not sure how well that's going to go. But anyway, right now we have our telescope aimed at the Caroline's Rose cluster. So I don't know who Caroline is, but this is her cluster. And we're using the red imaging filter right now, broadband color. And you can see when we stretch the histogram, we have all of these stars. And we're going to just go ahead, we're going to widen that at a 45-degree angle so we can see a little bit more. Now, I chose this target because it can fit in my image sensor. You can see that like pom-pom right there, fitting neatly in my imaging square. So I know it fits in my image sensor. And well, here we have it. So here's the plan. Now, star clusters aren't usually, oh shoot, I almost forgot. Star clusters aren't usually the most challenging, but you still have to have your auto guiding on. I almost forgot to activate auto guiding, so we're gonna just make sure we have that going right now. And so we got ourselves set to a half a second exposure. We could pick a single star, or we could ask this program to well, whoops, wrong setting. Meant to do this. I meant to click here. So we're going to ask it to scan, and it's going to identify more than one star. Now, is that enough? Well, if we have any doubt, we can crank up our brightness a little bit. It's sort of like boosting up the gain. And now we have like more points of light to lock onto. So now let's make sure we're going to let it scan again to be sure. And this is a really good feature. This is a multi-star, I think multi-star FWHM. It might even have that term in the floater. But basically, we have this thing called FWHM, full width half minimum. And essentially, it's a mathematical thing, but you see there's like a little peak, and there's a picture of the star in this little crosshair. And the job of this is to, identify where the highest point of brightness is, and calculate a centroid, which is the center of that star. But instead we use multiple stars, and it tends to be more accurate. It looks like it's making corrections on the right ascension axis, but not on the declination axis, which is, unfortunately, without the CCDV camera running, I think it shorted out. Might have to buy a new backyard camera or effect repairs to the current one. Either way, it's a bummer. But right now I can't show you a live view of the telescope in the backyard until I address that. But assuming that auto guiding is working, that should correct these oblong stars we're seeing right now. See how they're sort of oblong? And so I had to rename the file, or better yet, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to delete all of the files that were captured under this name, because realistically, these are all used for like targeting and calibration and stuff of that nature. Therefore, we're going to just start from scratch. There we go. And I'm currently imaging, I think, 2-minute exposures. That's how we're able to see so many stars. Is it too many stars? I don't think you could have too many stars. But, we definitely want to see that dense collection of stars in the middle. And we have to capture this in red, green, and blue, because that's how we get the colors of stars. That is how I have this wallpaper on my desktop. If we minimize my window for a second, whoops, wrong camera. Yeah, like this picture on my wallpaper, you can even see like what looks like a red giant. I don't know, it could just be a really bright star, but it seems to be leaning more towards the red end. And as you look in the middle, these have almost like more like a tan color to them. They're not white. There's a lot of different colors in this grouping of stars. And so today I'm really curious to see, what different colors I see in some of these stars, because as we swap between the red, green, and blue filters, some stars will lean towards a given color more than another. And that is what I'm looking for. But in the meantime, please allow me to get the YouTube video up. I want to get the chat up, or at least make sure I can see the chat. so that I can tend to the chat as people come in, if anybody comes in. I think that we have so much fun happening here. How could somebody not show up? Am I right? Am I right? But jokes aside, I'm not really much is going to be going on tonight. My goal is just to get some of this done, and maybe I'll record a segment on what do you call it? What's those stars called? The ones that are dwarf-like. Well, dwarf planets, yeah. So I do want to do a segment or record a segment on dwarf planets. But right now my priority is let me just get things organized and sorted out from there. So right now, okay, we got YouTube chat, we got the music over here. I want to recenter everything. So we're gonna just realign all of the windows. Days ago, I was doing a video encoding stream, sort of like just kind of technical stuff, and I was able to resolve some of the issues I was having towards that end. Okay, so I also got to try to remember to tend to the Rumble chat because I do have Rumble up on screen today, and if anybody tunes in on Rumble, I may have to ask for an apology in advance because it's not that I mean to neglect Rumble, but it tends to happen like if I'm paying attention to only one platform. So I will endeavor to do better. But in the meantime, I'm just kind of, squaring everything away, making so that I can read chat on both platforms. Long term, maybe I'll figure something better out. But right now, we have the YouTube chat window. And we're going to do a little test right now. We want to make sure that we can read the YouTube chat. And this is something I always forget to do before the stream. So here we are doing it now. And so I like to be sure that this is lined up more or less correctly like it is now. And usually there's always some caveat. I don't know why. I mean, I kind of have an idea why, but I think we got it sorted out. So if I go to my third monitor, see, there's always something misaligned. And so I always have to fix up the chat window whenever I start these streams, which is kind of annoying. But I think we're golden now. I think we got everything we want. And so I can hide the chat for now, which is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to clear the chat window. We'll try to, check on Rumble once in a while. But from the top, let's go to our top monitor. 2-minute exposure coming up on the next frame right now. And I think auto guiding has been running for about long enough to see. And well, I mean, the stars look like they're straight, but they also look out of focus. So we got to fix that first. So I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this set because we really don't have anything to there we go. And we're going to have to unfortunately crank down to a short exposure while we figure this out. And so in the meantime, I think we're going to put on some music. And I do want to give a shout out to a couple of friendly YouTube channels. Oh, he ended it. Night, guys. I'm streaming a little astronomy and stuff. So anyway, I was going to shout this guy out in case anybody want to go here. It looks like I'm the only asshole watching right now. So it looks like it's too late for me to shout myself out. Oh, well, I tried. Well, I didn't try that hard, but we tried. We got a Japanese YouTube channel doing astronomy. They're looking at a meteor shower. I think I'm good on that right now. We got my boy, Castlevania Cast Club. I'm going to put his channel up in the chat right here so people can visit him. Wait, what the fuck is Simon Olcott? He's always fucking trolling us, his new channel names. Can't just keep one name. Okay, that's him. Yeah, that's him. I always got to double check. I never know if it's my friend or not. So we're going to start off with the Mobile Suit Victory Gundam song, and with some luck, this does not get me some kind of strike or something, because it probably will, you know. I mean, it's just how the cookie crumbles there. So I have to try to keep an eye on the YouTube, wherever my YouTube streaming metrics, so I got to keep an eye on that, because it probably will. I should probably test out my audio. Victory Gundam is like the best Gundam series ever. We're gonna play a remix, because that's got to be safer. But actually, yeah, one of the things we're doing tonight is working on Gunpla, or Gundam model kits, from the Mobile Suit Victory Gundam series. Probably my favorite Gundam series of the Universal Century timeline. And in fact, for starters, we're gonna take a look at the beam rifle. So I have a beam rifle right here. Let's see how that goes. In the meantime, we're gonna just yeah, I have to basically, I'm gonna Alt Tab. Okay, got my new cutting board right here, and I want to direct the attention. This is the beam rifle. In fact, this is the beam rifle that you're looking in the back left corner right there. So you see the beam rifle on the back left side of this video. In fact, these are model kits. These are just good photos of someone's well-built, well-weathered Gundam model. And the beam rifle on the back is the type I'm holding in my fingers right now. So we're going to switch to that camera angle, and I'll show you what I got here. And I have to just make some adjustments, because I need to put an OBS preview window up. Obviously, we don't want this to be too high. So actually, we have a couple of accessories here I can show you. We have a bazooka. We got something else here. We got a bunch of, you know, unused pieces, part of this weapons kit. And so far, it looks like if I'm playing music from a YouTube video, I mean, it stands to be reasoned that it should be allowed, right? And you know what? I always got to remember, whenever I resize the chat window, unfortunately, it wreaks havoc with the chat overlay. So I actually have to verify that it's cut off. It's cut off. I got to fix it again, because I resized the window ever so slightly. And I keep putting off on this, but I have to like unify the settings. Like, I should really only have one of these overlays on all of my profiles. So right now, I'm going to fix that, because I can't have that anymore. Like, I got to have one set of settings for all of them. So I'm going to fix that real quick, because otherwise I'm going to drive myself batshit insane. So now I can monitor the chat and see what's going on here. But let's get right to it here. So, like I said, I was working on a Gundam beam rifle. And remember, this is two sets of panels right here, right? These are, you have panel lines on these. In fact, you can see a little bit of a line right here. In fact, you can't see the lines, because I did such a good job on that. So let's keep going. See this right here? See that line? That line used to be way more distinct. See that line over there? Yeah, you can see a line right there. So now, what I did was, and what is up with my lighting? Why is my lighting giving me a hard time right now? Oh, the stupid camera is in automatic. So here's the funny thing. People always make fun of me for wearing a white t-shirt like every effing day. Not even kidding. Like this is like a running joke that people have. And because I wear a white t-shirt every day, my camera is not accustomed to seeing me like in a white t-shirt, and it's throwing off the chroma key right now. And my option is to change into a white t-shirt or to make adjustments. So I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna try making manual adjustments because I know what works. Basically, if you make it, something seems off about the lighting. I gotta say, I do feel like I look a little dark right now, and it's really annoying me. I mean, I think we got it about right. Okay, there we go. So that should be good enough. I feel like I gotta make major lighting adjustments soon. I've been improvising with a chrome dome lamp for like a hot minute, and that does throw off my exposure. But let's get right to it. Okay, I think we're in as good shape as we're gonna be. So, here goes something. We're currently listening to the Galaxy Express 39 opening theme song. That is the animated series with the space train of the Galaxy Express. And well, I'm not gonna get into the lore of that right now, but it is the first animated series, Japanese anime at least, that I've ever watched. But let's get back to doing these guns here. So this one here, like I said before, we got a seam line here. We're going to jump back to the telescope in a second. In fact, I have to jump back to the telescope right now. I keep putting off on that too. So what I need to do with this telescope is refocus because we're out of focus right now. And we can see that because we can see these points of light are blurry. So what we do is we crank down our exposure to something manageable, like half a second, maybe less, because we want to see the star update. Then we use the motorized focuser, and so what I like to do is I like to rack it out like 175 steps. Then I'll rack it in like 75 steps. So just now, by adjusting the focus to be so loose that we cannot see anything, we now need to bring it back into focus. In the meantime, let's see what else we got in the jukebox here. I'm gonna have to be real careful. I don't usually play music on my channel, but try to find something that doesn't get me, a strike, right? Trying to avoid any of that copyright drama. I might have just exhausted my whole playlist of music. Yeah, let's see. We'll try more Gundam music. How does that sound? In fact, did I play Stand Up to the Victory yet? I didn't play the original one. We'll play the... Oh, this is a cover. We can do a cover. All right, so we'll do a cover song. I don't even know how loud or how low the music is. I have to actually play it on my phone to know. All right, I lost the star. There it is. So we're going to go 50 steps in on the focusing mechanism, and then we're going to shorten the exposure setting. We're going to go crank it in 25 steps. All right, we almost got it, I think. So basically what happens is as the telescope cools down, shrinks. And when that happens, we lose focus. Like it literally, it's like having a lens shrink on you. And because that lens is shrinking on me as the temperature drops, I either have to have an automatic method or I have to manually adjust that focus. And so I've been manually adjusting it. And so now we can begin our first picture. In the meantime, I'm going to just verify the audio level is here. All right, good. Now we're making progress. So we got automatic guiding enabled. So we're going to crank it up to like, I don't know, maybe a 2-minute exposure, which means it'll take 4 minutes for the first picture to come up, but I think it'll be worth it. Wow, the audio music isn't even noticeable. All right, so I'm just listening to my phone. I want to try to get the music to come through the audio. I just cranked up the volume. Unless the music won't show. Oh, I know what's happening. You know what happened? I forgot a setting. So it's gonna probably get loud all of a sudden right now. That might be why. It might. So expect the music to suddenly appear out of nowhere. Okay, we're gonna try to keep this nice and subtle. I'm gonna try to keep it nice and subtle. I want you to be able to hear me speak while I'm talking to the mic. And we also want to try to avoid any copyright claim. Okay, so I just cranked up the volume. Testing 1, 2, 1, 2. Cranking up the volume a little more. That should be fine. Alrighty. I think now it's as loud as you're gonna make. So like anyway, we got about 2 minutes left on the next exposure. And so I have to keep an eye on my analytics. If anybody thinks the music is too loud, let me know, but I think it's about the right volume. I figure why keep the music to myself. So we gotta wait another 1.5 minutes for that telescope image to come up. In the meantime, let's get back on topic here. So yeah, when you put together 2 halves of a piece of plastic like this, you're gonna have a panel line down the center, like here and here. And you can see it didn't clean it up that well here, but you can see the barrel is almost gone. Now I have to still clean that up, but take a look at the top up there. There's almost no panel line. It's like buttery smooth. And that is because of 2 things I did. Well, one, I was engaged in doing a combination of wet and dry sanding. And I used basically these from 400 and 800 grit all the way up to 3,000 and 5,000 grit sanding. But I bought some new sanding materials today, and I'm hoping these work out. Now, only thing, and I also have this stupid thing. So this is a glass file. It's supposed to be like the creme de la croix for this type of thing, but this is a knockoff. And this knockoff is like hit or miss, you know what I mean? Like, one, you gotta clean it a certain way. Now, I don't know if there's a better way to clean it. I just find I can wash it with water or wipe with my fingers like this. That seems to work. But it's like super hard material, so you could probably like ruin your fingers or ruin the skin on your fingers if you're not careful. Alright, so here it is. First picture of the shoot, I didn't tell it the image. Okay, so there we go. I take a few pictures of it like this. This is a globular star cluster, basically, or some kind of star cluster. And so you're going to have a concentration of stars in the middle. And they're pretty much, lined upright because we have auto guiding. We have this application here, keeping the target locked automatically, and it's making minute corrections so that we get a nice clean exposure. And maybe I'll move on to some kind of nebula in a little while, but star cluster is very easy to get, some results out of. So I want to give that a chance. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we do a we're going to capture the application that is doing the astronomy. Alright, now it's moving on to the next audio track. So we're going to keep this one here. We're going to basically sync this up a little bit. So we're going to put the globular star cluster in the corner like that while we play that. So let's get right back to it now that we got everything we want. Alrighty, so anyway, what did we do to get this? Well, I did some wet sanding and dry sanding, but one of the main things you do is you're supposed to use Tamiya thin cement on this. So we can start a brand new one, but we're going to finish up some of the work on this one. And so, even though I'm not crazy about this glass file because there's better ones out there that have different levels of grit on them, this one seems to be working. So I'm gonna keep at it. And I know they might tell you to do this multiple times. They might tell you to do it only in one direction. I don't know if doing it one direction is better or not, or if you should buff it back and forth. All I know is that these glass files will get you like a shiny finish. If that's what you're looking for, they'll get you a shiny finish. I mean, because it's glass is definitely harder than plastic. It will remove material, no doubt about that. It'll remove a ton of material. What I don't like about it is you can't get this into small spaces, which is why I bought the other sanding sticks. And like what we could do is like take this carbon fiber sanding twig, for example, and you can put it on the rough and 400 grit. Now, I was supposed to cover this entire carbon fiber stick, but I decided to only cover half of it because I was like, why did they provide these carbon fiber sticks if you're going to waste one piece of sandpaper on the whole thing? So I covered the whole thing. So that's the rough grit that removes more material. Then you're supposed to move on to like a less rough grit. So this is like our 600 grit. And what we're going to do is this time we're going to buff the back and the bottom because we want to remove a lot of material from this bottom here. I just get some kind of extra microphone that picks up the sound from the sandpaper. And it's like actually why this L shape works. So this L shape here, or no, it's not really L shape, like a 45-degree angle maybe, can actually get into this rough space here. In this, diagonal space, right? And I have no idea if I'm doing this right. I'm kind of just going along and learning as I go along. So now we're going to play the ending song from Victory Gundam. Now this is the song that is played at the end when one of our antagonists loses their memory and goes blind. And it was like a fate worse than hell, worse than death. They deserved it more than anyone did. Now, unlike a nebula or a galaxy, we really don't need a whole lot of pictures of this particular target. Okay, so we got our rough grit, our less rough grit. Actually, I don't remember what number grit is what. Like, I'm going by touch right now. Like, I know one of these is supposed to be really rough, and then there's supposed to be progressively less rough. I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah, I think I got it in the right order. We're just gonna take a chance here. And I moved on to a smoother grit sandpaper here. So at some point, what I do is I like to put some water into a container off to the side here and dip into it in order to, have water for wet sanding. So I had to buy a replacement pen for my phone recently. So I have a little dipping cup for the sandpaper. I, for the life of me, can't remember which sandpaper is which, but we're going to just wet sand on this side first. So I figure these small parts are great for practicing, because it's like less important. If I mess up on one of these, it's not the end of the world. I can paint them anyway, but it looks like it's working. It looks like we've made progress. Let's take a look at that. Now, to give the lighting, I really should get like an additional lighting device for this, but you can see how you can't really see that panel line like we could see before. So we know we are successful here. No, mostly it worked. So, like I said, putting glue down helps to sort of vulcanize or melt the two differing materials together. And so what I could do is I think I'm going to try to cheat a little bit. I'm going to try to use this polishing stick here. Make like a little zipping sound as we slide across it. So yeah, this is where the weaknesses start to show. It's going to be really hard to get it into that space, and we're not even going to try. What we're going to do is we're going to just try to hit it up with the wet sandpaper now. We probably don't have to make it perfect. Like realistically, we're looking at the bottom of a beam rifle. Like you're not even going to see this part of it most of the time anyway, right? But we're going to try anyway. Might as well. We're trying to get our technique better, perfected better. We're going to adjust the telescope after this anyway, so. So basically now we got the glue in that little groove. A little bit more down. I'm hoping that it'll basically vulcanize, it'll melt the plastic over there. As for back here, we don't really need to do much. I'm tempted to put some glue back there just for fun, but it's probably unnecessary at this point. The panel line is already, as I think, close to gone as it's going to be. Up here, I've already put the glue up there, so I really just need to sand the top down and clean up the glue that's already been placed down. Also, I put some glue up here to hide the panel line, and I'm not going to be able to sand inside that hole anyway, but I think it's good enough. Like, sure, I can do a little cleanup over here, but not going to go, drive myself insane. There we go. We closed the glue so I don't accidentally get off on that. So now, let's go take a look here. I just want to make some adjustments here. See if we got anything else here. Oh, it's cool. We got Mecha Mizume Victory Gundam. I don't know this song at all, though. That's just kind of cool. Mecha Mizume Victory Gundam. Look at that shit. It's like, this is an interesting art concept. It like basically draw cute girls and then toss them inside a mecha. I mean, you know, it's kind of bizarre, but it's kind of like, I find it interesting as far as an art. So now, whoops, let's get to my, I got this bottle of water popping. I have to now go and switch filters. Now here's the caveat, when you switch filters on these, you lose the focus. So I have to refocus basically. It actually looks like it's actually in focus. Like, I'm afraid to even adjust it. I'm gonna do it anyway. I mean, the Mecha Mizume art genre doesn't even make sense. I mean, look, you got a girl who looks like the Victory Gundam, and then you got the Core Fighter. But technically, the Core Fighter should have her head over here, right? Because that's where the head is located on the Core Fighter. But yet, we see a normal Gundam head. Well, actually, wait, do we? Maybe her head is buried inside there. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out, that the Core Fighter has the head over here because that's where the Vulcan cannons are. And there is a little helmet here, but once again, I mean, this is not a real, you know, I mean, it's a mobile suit combined with a person, right? So, okay, let's get back to it here. Okay, so we're going to try stepping into focus about 20 steps, electronic motorized focusing. Our goal is get these points here to be like more focused. We don't want to overshoot the mark either, right? That's like really important that I don't overshoot the mark. Hey, what up, Superstar? It's good to see you here. Thank you. I see you renamed the channel before the month is over. Very, very interesting. But it makes sense. I mean, you've been doing this Castlevania Club, Castlevania Cast Club. And so it makes sense that you might as well. I mean, you've been busting your ass beating that game, like, or beating multiple Castlevania games. Heck, you know, I've never played Castlevania. If I can either play it on my OG Xbox. If you could recommend a Castlevania game I could get started on, let me know. So I have a Nintendo Switch and I have a modded Xbox. And I have, like, you know, a Game Boy Micro that has like a flash cartridge loaded with NES games that are also on my Xbox. But either I can try to play Castlevania on my Nintendo Switch, you know, from like one of those classic, you know, things. Okay, that's probably going to be as good as we need to get it. So now let's go and crank up the exposure to 15 second. And then we'll see, we can see more stars. And then if they look like they're in focus, we'll fire up the imagery. But in the meantime, let's take a quick look at what we got here. And in the meantime, do we have any other Gundam music? It's a live performance of Victory Gundam. I'm like definitely afraid of going to like, you know, like Amazon Music. All right, so that looks like it's in focus. So let's crank it up to 2 minutes. And then now we're taking pictures in green. So remember, we got to get red, green, and blue. Okay, so let's get here. Go back to the desk cam. So we want to get rid of that seam on the back, right? Now, it's already gone, but see, what I want to do is I want to avoid getting rid of that scoring mark. Also, you can see where the nub used to be or where the burr used to be. But yeah, so the gentleman who left a message in the chat here, his channel link is posted right above his message. So please check out my friend there if you guys like to see his content. He's been tearing it up. He's been tearing it up playing Castlevania, which I believe takes place in it's sort of like Pennsylvania, but they got castles there. I believe that is what it is, or it might be more like a vampire thing. You know, like Transylvania, which is not affiliated with Pennsylvania. So basically, I'm gonna start taking my chances with the high grit sandpaper because like I'm just finding it super annoying that we have to like deal with like this nuisance of I don't know, these like rigid carbon fiber rods are pretty cool, but there's not enough of them in a box. We might even want to keep the rough look on the back, you know? Here's my problem right now. My problem is that I am gonna have to use the scoring tool on this. Now you might ask, what is a scoring tool? Well, I saw some guy on Instagram using one of these, so I picked my own up. Now, the thing is that sometimes it can be a little hard to use the scoring tool because, it comes with this like tape that I always misplace, but even if I had the special tape, I find the special tape doesn't really help. So what you do is you got to pick the right piece, like in this case, you want to pick probably the thinnest one. This is we're scoring the back of a beam rifle. And snug it up. Oh, that guy's loud. Who the hell is talking? All right, I'm done here with the music, at least for now. Maybe I'll come back to it later, but I don't want to get copyright struck, and so because I don't want to get audio copyright striked. All right, so that astronomy picture, if you think it looks overexposed, you would be right, but that's until I do this. So we got good clean stars, they're in focus, and remember, there's not a lot of green in the universe. So what you're gonna see here is it looks like there's like no stars here. And that's because there's really not a lot of green in space. That's pretty normal. And so we don't actually have to overexpose or overcompensate. We could, crank up the background a little bit just so you can see more stars. But it's not really a thing that we can expect. And let me just, yeah, over here, see that? There's, like, that's the green filter. There's really just not a lot of green in outer space. And so, we're not gonna go out of our way to make adjustments to the green. All right, let's get right back to it. All right, so scoring tool. Wait, that's the wrong. I still gotta buff out that little smooth spot there. I picked up the wrong workpiece, but I gotta. Like, I literally don't know which sandpaper is the type, but I think it's this one's the higher grit. I mean, less coarse. So I got 3 pictures in the filter of green. So we'll switch to blue very soon. We'll have a complete image set, and I do want to process it between today or the day after. I don't like that I can feel that seam over there. I might put the vulcanizing material on it right now and let it set. Yeah, because we have glue already setting there. So we're going to let that sit for a little while. I'm going to take a look at the beam rifle. So the beam rifle here we were working on earlier. In fact, when I last touched it, I wanted to score. And it's going to require some very particular precision. I'm not even sure if I have the precision for this. Now, if you're wondering what that was me using a X-Acto to make a pilot cut. Probably did it wrong. I'm mostly going to leave it alone. I'm going to move on to a high grit 3000 grit and 5000 grit. So let's see here. We're going to first do. Actually, I do have to do some polishing on the side here too. Okay, I think the telescope started moving, but that sucks. No, but something threw off the image quality there. The image quality took a slight dive. I'm gonna have to leave it alone. It's just not that bad. I think we're ready to go to the next filter. So anyway, we're gonna go to the blue filter. We're gonna have to stop the imaging now, switching to blue. We're going to crank down the exposure time so we can get a good reading. So we are out of focus again as expected. And we basically gonna do the same thing. We're gonna back out the focuser. Okay. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna set the shutter speed to about 2 minutes. I will get an initial shot at 15 seconds so you guys can get a preview of the target. A better copy preview than what we're looking at right now. Okay, that's our preview. And now we're gonna go and set for like 2 minutes. And there we go. We're on. So give it about 2 minutes. Now, the only issue here is I'm standing directly on top of my own score marks, but I'm using such a high grit sandpaper that I'm not super worried. With this particular grit sandpaper, we're effectively polishing it. We're not so much sanding it as we are polishing it. And the problem is that this particular, you see like we got a bunch of like circles on here that I'm pretty sure, well, this might be part of it, but this circle is a molding line, and there was like another one that is super annoying. So you can see one of those circular marks right here. That was super annoying. That's why we're polishing the back right now because, like, I basically had to, like, sand it. I created a scratch on here, and I had to rescore that area, and it's still not gone. At this point, I'm leaving that shit alone. I don't wanna drive myself insane. And then on this side, it looks like I just accidentally polished it by leaning it on the glass. Or did I use the maybe I did use the glass sanding device? I'm not really sure, but we're gonna scuff that up because I don't like the way it looks. Oh, that's glue. I think that's glue. Oh, how's out? Okay, we got about a few more seconds left. Sometimes the software glitches out and it tries to take like a double long exposure in the middle of a normal exposure. It's super annoying when it does that. Yeah. I still think there's something I need to learn, but I think I'm just gonna like say this is good enough. I maybe do like a little final spin polishing here, but like not gonna overdo it on this particular blast rifle. You know, what I mean, like if anything, what we could do for fun is maybe see what we can do in terms of painting, minimal painting. Like I'm talking, like we're gonna add some lines to it. Okay, so don't listen to the way I do this. First, I'm gonna clean it before I try to do anything else to it. So I'm gonna try to clean off the excess material. And then while that's drying, it's basically 99% isopropyl alcohol, so it shouldn't really be any trouble drying it. We're gonna basically try to paint it now. I've seen many ways to go about this, but one of the tricks was to basically like put dots of paint down and then smear them. But I think it works just as well to just like hit it with a Q-tip. So, what I saw was people would do actually is they would put dots of paint down next to the work area and then they would wipe it with a Q-tip. But I think that doesn't really apply. I have those Gundam markers coming on Friday, and I have another set, but I bought them years ago, and because I bought them so long ago, I keep misplacing them. But these, I started keeping these in one place. I made a mistake there, but it actually looks like it almost works. Ooh, that almost looks like it works. That almost looks like it's supposed to work. I'm gonna do it the way I saw it in some YouTube videos. I'm gonna put some black dots of paint here that are very wet. Got some practice to do. I suspect the other brush paint, the markers with the paintbrush in them might be better suited to doing this. Now, because I used a scoring tool here, that's why it got extra dark. When you have the markers that don't have the fine tip, when they have the brush tip, what you can do is put dots down and use the Q-tips to spread the paint, and it ends up falling between the lines, and then you're able to wash off the rest of it. In this case, I think we might have enough between the lines anyway, but like I said, my biggest issue was like this circle mark here, like that. I may just tolerate it because it's like hard to see anyway when the when model kit is holding on to the gun, you can't see that anyway. And I don't want to obsess on the weapons, you know what I mean? Like, this is just a weapons kit. This isn't even a freaking model. It's literally a weapons kit. Now, what annoys me, but I kind of figured as much, like that bazooka is not painted white at all, right? You got to have your own white paint for that. Which one is this? The bazooka? Which one do I have here? Nah, this one here is Beam Bazooka. So I did a little minimal painting there just for fun. In the meantime, let's take a look at the telescope. Yeah, so we got 4 frames in the green filter, a blue filter actually. So we got red, green, and blue. When we combine those separate colors, we're going to find the true color of those stars. But I think we're about done with this star cluster. So we're going to go and find a different target, maybe a nebula, maybe a galaxy, although I'm not really crazy about Andromeda. Andromeda is just a pain in the butt. Like, you need like multiple nights of raw images to get Andromeda. And I have a feeling it's going to be really hard to take pictures of the Phantom Galaxy. Just, oh, what is that? Triangulum. Should we take a crack at Triangulum? I think we should. It's in just the right part of the sky right now. Just in a slightly inconvenient patch of sky right now. It is. It's like, if I'm looking at this correctly. Well, where's the ground? Actually, it's not too bad. It's actually a pretty good part of the sky. Or should we do Pac-Man Nebula? We'll get one more frame in this setting here. We'll jump over to Triangulum. But yeah, I'm still kind of still learning to finagle. Oh, whoops, drop this. Finagle this, particular aspect of Gundam model kit building. I didn't even show off how to like cut the pieces off the runners. That I was really proud to figure out. That was kind of a big deal to me, to figure out how to get the individual parts off of the runners, off of the plastic pieces, because it's very easy to leave a nub on there. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Disengage camera. Okay, good. We're on target with triangulum. So what we like to do is we like to get a starter picture. Doesn't matter what filter we use, but we need to get a picture to make sure we're on target. So we can either verify I'm looking at something. Okay, I'm looking at something. Then we maybe crank it up to like 8 seconds or 15 seconds. And what I like to do is just copy and paste the name. So it's going to be okay. So now we're using plate solving to get a target acquisition. Meantime, I'm going to just put away some of the Gundam model kit material. Takes about 30 to 60 seconds for this part of the process to occur. I bought a bag of Ziploc bags, a box of these. I'm so glad I finally got the new box because these really help me to keep small parts organized. This is basically how, if you start working on a Gundam model kit and you take a break, this is how I avoid losing stuff. And one of the reasons I can't find my Victory Gundam is because I put it in one of my toolboxes. I'm not sure which one it is right now. So I have like a master grade Victory Gundam, an amazing one, and I might spend another $75 to buy another one, but I don't need to spend $75 if I can find the parts of it that I've already assembled. All right. But right now, that's why I'm working on the weapons kit and the V2 Victory Gundam. Okay, so now when we do that, what happens is it shows we're off target. So we're going to recenter our target. At that point, we should be on the nose. We don't even have to technically recheck it anymore. So what I like to do is just rename the file. And you can see how the aim got shifted a little bit. That was expected. Maybe back into motorized focus it by 5 steps to count for temperature drop. Keep it on the blue filter. And crank it up to like, I don't know, 2 minutes. And see what we get. take us 4 minutes to get like the first picture. We might not see anything, but we'll give it a shot. Now, in other news, I was working with this video encoder and I was running into major problems. Basically, I picked up episodes of Legend of the Galactic Heroes on Blu-ray. And that, no, I have no complaints. I'm happy I bought that. Like, I truly am. But where I ran into a problem was it kept crashing. In fact, I think I have a job right here, a batch job that crashed. And the reason it crashed was because of the audio. And so whenever you tell it to say pass through mode, it'll basically give you a message saying that it's going to ignore or not include the AC3 audio track, because there's basically 3 audio tracks. There's stereo sound, True HD, and AC3. And apparently True HD is something exotic. It's not like, you know, Dolby Digital or DTS HD. DTS HD I can do pass through mode, meaning that I re-encode the video, but I keep the audio track as it is. But when handling True HD, it gets a little weird. At least with this program it does. So until I post a question to the forum to see like what's good, I was like, well, I got 2 options. I can just throw in the, whatchamacallit, just put in the stereo track, you know, because I don't need surround sound right now. But long term, yeah, if there's a surround sound audio track, I want it. And yeah, I could use Handbrake. Handbrake did a pretty good job re-encoding this, but got pretty limited options here for deinterlacing. It's not terrible. The other problem with Handbrake, not really problem, was confusion for me was deciding whether I need to use deteleciny or deinterlace, you know, and in the end, I might figure out that Handbrake is just as good for the purpose I'm using for it right now for. However, Hybrid, which is the video encoder we're looking at right now, has such good options for deinterlacing. And you can see like right here, I normally put it on very slow, but I decided to set it to custom because it has some interesting options here that I want to see, you know, a comparison on. Now, it no longer crashes. In fact, I think I have a couple of these. The only one I don't have is the custom. Right now, the custom was paused midway through with 2 hours and 20 minutes left on it. And I didn't want to keep it running because it was making my room hot. Like, it was literally making the room really warm, you know? And I just didn't want to, like, you know, sweat my ass off. It's a little bit too cold outside to be running the air conditioner, you know? Like, people would think that you're out here trying to waste electricity. So I was like trying to not waste electricity, you know? I mean, plus I don't want to waste electricity either. But this was making my room hot and I didn't want to keep the video encoder running while, you know, while occupying this room. It would have been done by now if I did, but these 2 videos here. So we got one of these actually spat out 60 frames a second. So you got the fast preset, you got the slow preset. Oh no, first picture of the galaxy. Oh yeah, that's amazing. Look at that. Speaking, well, look at that. We're taking a look at a galaxy on a cartoon. We're looking at a galaxy right over here. How cool is that? So we can already see the Triangulum galaxy here. So we're gonna crank it up to like a longer exposure. We're gonna go what, 4 minutes? 5 minutes? I mean, we want to do 5 minutes if we can get 5 minutes out of this. We just do. So we're gonna try to get 5 minutes. And like I said, by the time this stream is over, you're probably not even gonna see this picture. But if I get good pictures, which could be hit or miss, I'll certainly share them. Almost certainly. So yeah, I'd say the quality of this Deinterlace is amazing. I can see the film grain in here, and really, I don't think there's any practical way to get a comparison going unless we like open up multiple versions of this. So we could do, for example, the fast one. I think it actually eliminated some of the film grain. I'm like super OCD about getting the best quality I can get out of this. I want to say the definition on the right side is better. Actually, it would be worse on the right side. I'm actually confusing myself. But what we're going to do here is we're going to switch to the 60 frames a second version. Also, this one's missing subtitles, I think. Now, some people complained about the quality of like they did some digital enhancement on this, I think, like, in certain parts, and I'm fine with it, but I can see where people thought it looked kind of plastic. The font is there. This is good. So one of the challenges I was running into is getting the font to be like a match. They almost look indiscernible, and that is why I'm very curious to see what it looks like with this setting, because in particular, the deinterlacing setting that I applied that I want to try out is this one, source matching. And it says, these are speed and quality presets, meaning the lower the speed, the higher the quality. The custom allows you to modify all the parameters that are offered. I don't see a custom option. Oh wait, I gotta flip my mouse over that one. Source matching creates higher fidelity output with extra processing. Enable with source match 1, 2, or 3 or higher values. Wait, enable with source match. Okay. 1, 2, or 3 higher values are slower and more accurate. Can combine with lossless settings, especially lossless level 2. For more detail, again, tweak speed, match preset. Will honor artifacts. So here's the thing, it will honor artifacts in the source. So best used with high quality sources. So if I want to preserve like every artifact of detail that is in the original, I may want to use that. There's another setting here, I think. This one here was it? And one of these settings is very weird. Puts exact source fields into result and it cleans any artifacts. And it says do it after temporal smoothing, before resharpening, adds some extra detail, but mode 1 gets shimmer/minor combing. So in other words, the very thing I'm trying to filter out gets put back into the image while making the image sharper. And then the latter, it says is more stable, tweakable, but not exactly lossless. So I'm kind of tempted here, but for now, I'm going to just use all of the settings I have here as they are. There we go. And then once I figure out what combination of settings gets me what I want, I mean, so far they all look great. What's interesting about this video on the right is if we go to codec information, it's 60 frames a second. And this is 29 frames a second. So the question is, can we even perceive 60 frames a second right now? I don't think so, because the source material, the animated source material, is basically probably not even done at 29. It was released at 29 frames a second, but it's probably not even 29.97. It's probably 24. I believe this was scanned off like a 35 millimeter film. Oh, that's nice. Actually, we got a few more minutes left. We got 5 more minutes left before we can see what that looks like. So I can't really tell if there's an improvement here. It doesn't look any worse. So what part would we expect to see? Well, basically very early in the cartoon, like right here when you see the camera panning. I mean, now I'm like splitting hairs trying to figure out what looks smoother. Do I hear rain? Oh, no, I don't hear rain. I get scared when I hear rain because, I have my telescope outside and, obviously we don't want it to rain. So I'm going to leave this alone for now because I'm going to drive myself insane. But I have a couple of experiments to do now over here. I can see a galaxy there. It's kind of faint. A little too faint for my taste, but it's there. Okay, I know I'm getting ADD here, but I feel like we should be working on Pac-Man. It looks like a better target, especially now I got multi-star auto guiding working. I feel better about Pac-Man Nebula. So we're gonna aim the telescope at Pac-Man Nebula, and I'm gonna call it a night. But I want to thank you for watching. Anybody who's watching, I want to also, say please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. I'm gonna run this a little bit longer before I end it, even though I just said I was about to end it because I got some adjustments to do anyway. So, we're working on Pac-Man Nebula. Usually I like to image this in hydrogen alpha for a multitude of reasons, but most notably, it's just easier. So what we do is we try to get any faint star to show up in the frame. Actually, wait, we don't want to do that yet. So we start with slightly longer exposure. We verify it looks like it's in focus, and then we work our way in from there. Hey Google, what's the temperature tomorrow? Hey Google, stop it. Hey Google, stop. Hey Google. Hey Google, volume 3. Hey Google, what's the temperature tomorrow? It did it again. It did that annoying glitch. I say it's definitely in focus. So if we go out for like a 5-minute exposure in hydrogen, I should be in pretty good shape. Oh, but I almost forgot. Can't do that until we do one critical thing, you see? We gotta do. Ooh, I smell a skunk outside, and I was about to open my window. Oh my god, a skunk totally sprayed something or some poor dog. Probably a dog. Dogs tend to, mess with skunk. I'm gonna have to live with it, but man, some skunk definitely did something outside, boy. Oh boy. Okay, good. We're going to take a picture. We use the plate solving to calculate. Hey, Google, shut up. Okay, so we're going to use the plate solving here to calculate, to compare it to a star map. And while that's happening, we're going to begin the first 5-minute exposure since it takes 10 minutes to get that going. We're in 11 megapixel mode. Yes, this camera is totally able to do 47 megapixels, 8K resolutions. Why don't I use it in that mode? Well, basically because if I did, it would, you know, make an enormous file. And the pixel sizes are smaller. That's really important. You get a smaller pixel size. And what that means is fewer photons. Yeah, fewer photons are collected when you have a smaller pixel size. We don't want that in this case. We want to collect more photons. As you can see right there, the target realigned. Now we're going to recenter it one more time. Now we're on the money. So the mechanism was pretty close, but we want it to be perfect, right? Or as close to perfect as we can get. Now also, can I lower the temperature of the cooling unit? I could. Is it tempting? It is very tempting to try. The thing is, if I lower the temperature of the cooling unit, I have to remember to bring the temperature back up, or I have to turn off the cooling unit at some point before, especially if it's like 100 degrees outside tomorrow, that would not be good if we didn't, lower the temperature or bring the temperature back up, because if the cooling unit is too aggressive in cooling the image sensor, you get like a lot of external heat buildup, and essentially that external heat buildup will essentially make its way back inside, and essentially it becomes a feedback loop where you get excess heat, so the cooling unit tries to fight the heat, and then more heat is generated by trying to cool this sensor down. But what we're hoping is if this thing can achieve negative 20 Celsius, it'll back off on the power. It's at 255. Basically, it's 100% power right now on a 12-volt power source. Maybe like a couple amps. And, about be like 24 watts, something like that. It's already at negative 21, so at some point I think it figures out if it's able to get it colder than it currently is and maintain it, it'll back off on the power. But if it doesn't, or if it cannot reduce the power setting while maintaining the current temperature, then I have to turn this off. I can't force it to stay cool. But right now it looks like we did manage negative 25. Oh, and I almost forgot. We have to use multi-star guiding, so we're going to activate that right now. It'll make corrective inputs to the mount every half second, basically. We can even turn on the trend lines if we want to see in what direction it's trending in. But mainly I'm concerned, good. If it can maintain the current temperature at a little over 50% power, then I'm a happy camper. And at this point, we got Pac-Man already visible in the middle, but he'll be real visible in about 8 minutes, 7 to 8 minutes. But by then, this stream will actually be over. But like I said, I already got multiple images of this nebula, just that I've been trying to get better pictures. I don't know if the noise that the sensor picks up goes down if I run at a cooler temperature than negative 15, but I'm not even prepared to go to like negative 25 until the dead of winter. Right now I still feel like it's like not really cool enough to go to negative 25, so I'm not going to push it. And that's basically it. I think we're going to conclude this in a moment's time. I think if I end the stream from Restream, it should end it on Rumble and YouTube at the same time, I hope. I will end at 1 hour 55. Like I said before, Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. And we'll be ending transmission any moment now, maybe like the 5-minute mark on this. I don't know, something like that. Just waiting for this. Yeah, and actually, I don't think I'd be able to maintain -25 Celsius. I'm lucky to get -20 right now, so I think we're gonna stick with that. And I'm gonna make it -15 so that the temperature matches the settings I've been using on my other pictures. So at this point, we're gonna tell it to begin capturing. We go back here, we see it's making some corrective pulses, but it looks like we're in pretty good shape. And so we'll keep the auto guiding initialized, and yeah. And if it doesn't get too toasty in my room, maybe I'll even fire up that video encoder. But that's a different topic. I didn't talk about dwarf planets today, but I should mention that briefly. At some point, I really, 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 really want to talk about dwarf planets. I did do a little tour of random stuff like last week, but I want to do like either focus on multiple dwarf planets in a tour. More likely, I would do like one. I don't know. I'm really thinking this over right now. That's why I didn't do it tonight. I want to think it over, but maybe I'll do short videos. I don't know, but I'm fascinated because like they actually included these dwarf planets in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Like when you go to the solar system and pick your missions out, they actually have like some of these major dwarf planets listed. They have Ceres listed, which is in the asteroid belt. It's a minor planet. It's actually got a spherical shape to it. They mention, I don't know if they mentioned Eris, but that's a significant dwarf planet. And I think they mentioned like one of the ones down here, like Haumea or Maki Maki. I can almost swear Sedna. They definitely had Sedna in there. I believe Sedna is comparable in size to Pluto. They only discovered it in like 2003. They give you like reference. Yeah, in fact, a lot of these dwarf planets were only discovered in like 2005, 2003. So I mean, like, you know, compared to other stuff that was discovered in terms of in the history books, these are very, very new. We got something in the Kuiper Belt right here. It's about half the size of Pluto. You got some interesting 2004. This is an oval-shaped object, almost looks like an egg, and has two moons, two irregularly shaped moons around it. Ceres has been known for like a long time, 1801 apparently. And of course, we know Pluto. It doesn't say what year here, but it was in like the 30s, I think. Pretty recent. So at some point, I do want to talk about those objects. Do we want to wait 2 minutes for Pac-Man to show up? I think we want to wait 2 more minutes for the Pac-Man nebula to show up. I mean, at this point, like we've been waiting this long, might as well. We got about a minute and 20 seconds left before we have, before we get to see. There's like a clock. There's like a timer right here. You can see the progress bars right here. So in about 30 seconds, that bar is going to be full. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to like show you that. Yeah, I think I had it. What did I have on a desk cam? I had the astronomical data. You see on the bottom of the screen. We have the the progress bar at 42, 43, 44, 45. So in about 15 seconds, not even 10 seconds now. Let's prep the histogram. Okay, so it's a little tight of a shot, but that's Pac-Man. You can't tell me that's not Pac-Man. That is definitely Pac-Man right there. Right, that's Pac-Man. I mean, we could even rotate the crosshairs if we wanted to, like line up with Pac-Man's mouth. Clonk, clonk, right? I thought about doing like a 10-minute exposure because especially like we wouldn't have to goose up the histogram so much. Um, Only problem is that with a 10-minute exposure, it'll bring me, hey Google, what time is sunrise? 6:43 a.m. But that doesn't tell the whole story, right? We just want to know, when does the sky start changing color on us? 5:14. Hey Google, what time is sunrise? So sunrise at 6:43 a.m. But the reality is the sky is going to be glowing at like 6. We can see that right here. So basically get 6 pictures of the Pac-Man Nebula on a long exposure setting, and the sky will already start glowing. So I'm going to go for the short exposure setting. It's not short, it's still 5 minutes. And leave it at that. And with that being said, we really will end this stream right now. So yeah, I'm going to say it for the last time. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment.